Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the QRP QSO Party Red Carpet Extravaganza, everybody. We're at a whole different format tonight, so we're kind of a little different scenario for us tonight other than being on the radio. So we're excited to see everybody and meet everybody out there tonight. Hope everybody can hear us okay. If yes, the audio is working. Okay, good deal. Thank you. Appreciate that. Well, we got to start it out where, welcome everybody. Thanks for stopping by. And we're glad to see everybody in the chat. I see we got Mike and Hollywood, and everybody's 5'9" tonight. One thing about it, we don't have to worry about any QRM tonight, do we, Steve?
That's right.
You sounding good, too. Good audio on your end. So let's see here. I'm going to do one thing. I'm going to remove this from the studio so I can get everybody together. All right, there you are, Steve. I got you up there. All right, let's go ahead and introduce Steve out there tonight. Steve, you got anything? Well, actually, I better introduce you the right way, right? From the super duper secret compound somewhere located in South Carolina is Steve. How are you tonight?
I'm good, Kevin. I see that I dressed up as much as I could, but I didn't get a tux like you did.
Well, this was, I just pulled this out of the closet, I got a couple of them laying around, so the other ones are in the cleaners, but yeah, no, you're looking good there. What's your hat say?
That's the W4FTK. That's my buddy John and Tim, and that's where the tower and the antenna came from. You can't find many friends that'll give you a tower and an antenna, so they've been super nice to me, and got to spend the day up with Russell with the Shelby Ham Club and eat some good barbecue and play some radio and red slaw and banana pudding.
Oh boy, yeah, buddy. Good stuff there. Now, so they had their winter event in the spring, right? Because it was so nasty weather when they did it in December or January there.
Well, they postponed the winter field day because it was too much winter.
Right.
We're not used to 10 inches of snow in South Carolina.
Right, exactly. Well, yesterday it was 80 degrees, and this morning I had to chop ice out of the water, the cat water dish this morning. So it's the weather's kind of being a little extreme right now, but. Anyway, well, welcome again, everybody. I see a bunch of people in the chat. We got about 24 on the live stream, so we're going to go through a couple things here. We won't hold you guys for long, but we just want to discuss some things about the event. And we got a chat room question for everybody that I want for those of you that participated, give us some feedback in the chat there. And we're going to review a couple feedback Facebook questions that we posed to everybody. And then we're going to present the winners. We're going to present the winners. And we'll show how everybody ranked on that. And then we'll wrap things up at the end. So hopefully we won't hold anybody too long. But I'm going to start out here first with, I wanted to pose this question to everybody for those that participated. Looking back at the event, what would you do differently next time? If you want to put in the comments something that you would do different next time as opposed to this time, because we'll probably have another event eventually. I'm not sure when, but I think we might change it to more of a midsummer, late summer event, and I'll explain my reasoning for that here when we discuss another issue here. So. Anyway, there's the question. If you look, what would you do differently next time? And you can put that in the comments in the chat there. Okay, so let's see. Let's get that off the screen and get back to Steve and I. Okay. Of course, I had to make notes. Everybody knows that I'm getting too old to remember stuff, so I have to make myself notes so I know what to talk about here and remember what to talk about. I wanted to talk about the challenges that we had during this event. the goal of the event was to challenge ourselves and test our skills and have some fun. And I think it did all of that. Don't you think, Steve?
Exactly. Yeah, I learned a lot.
Yep, conditions were pretty tough, and I think they were tough for everybody. So one of the things I wrote down here was 10 and 15 meters, which I kind of expected to get some DX and some long distance on, weren't even existent to me. And I think, Steve, you had about the same condition on your end, even with your beam.
Yeah, and actually, even in only being a ham for 3 or 4 years, we're always talking about the gray line. And that's something that was kind of a myth to me. I was like, well, yeah, did it get better? Did it not get better? But I actually made a call over the contest that if I would have called CQ and he would have answered my CQ call, I could have counted it. But he was calling CQ, and what was really strange was this gentleman was in Australia, and this was 7:15 in the morning. And if you look at the ham clock, the way the gray line runs, on QRZ, it told me to point to the southwest, which from South Carolina, you would think southwest to Australia.
Right.
But I could barely hear him to where QRZ was telling me to point. But when I pointed towards Alaska over Iowa, I don't know, maybe I'm getting some propagation off the cornfield, but
Right.
I'm actually going over Alaska and then down the east coast of Asia and I got him on 10 watts, 9,940 something miles, and got a 5.5 signal. And that made my day right there, even though I couldn't use it in the contest.
Yep.
It was awesome. And that's the gray line.
Those are exciting to get, aren't they?
Yeah.
A lot of fun, especially with low power.
And the gray line is what helped that just proved it to me right there. It's knowing where the gray line is, the time of day, the band, and the propagation, and a good antenna. You can do a lot with QRP. Right,
you bet. Yeah, that's one of the subjects I want to talk about was managing your propagation, time of day, and stuff like that. It's a good skill to learn, especially when you're working QRP. That hopefully that kind of proved its point during the event as well, that propagation changes and you kind of got to manage. But in my case, 10 and 15 when I expected it wasn't there, so it's just the way it was for that weekend. One thing I kind of found out was operate, if I'm on 20 meters, I found out that when we're cold calling like this, because it's tough to cold call and just, wait for somebody to swing by and hear you. I found that if I cold called more towards the middle of the band instead of out on the outer edges, on the outer edge frequencies, my chances of somebody dialing by and catching me and stopping for that moment maybe and hearing me and answering my CQ call might have improved a little better rather than being at the top or the very bottom end of the band there. So I did kind of and it helped. Actually, it helped me because I actually did hear you, Steve, calling CQ, and you were in the middle of the band, and I just happened to be dialing by on my way up to the higher end because I got QRM'd out and I was looking for another frequency. And let's see, who else did I run into? Oh, I also worked Eaton doing the same thing. I was just dialing through, and I heard him calling. Of course, I recognized his voice, and then I saw. I heard his voice and heard his call sign, and I knew who it was. So, but he was another one that I worked. He was calling CQ. So, and one other thing I wondered, Steve, is when I did my voice recording, I recorded it as the QRP QSO Party, and I'm wondering if I would have used QRP contest, the word contest, if that would have maybe drew in a few more folks that heard me, because they might be more willing to work me if I was in a contest as opposed to just a QSO party.
Right.
Just something maybe maybe something to think about next time. I think I'm going to change my recorded call to a QRP contest and see if that doesn't help me out.
Oh, and don't forget, there was some other people in the group that have, and I'm not going to mention any names, that also has the ICOM 7300, just like me. And I got a callus right here on the end of my finger. I did not know that your recorded CQ call, I sat there and I hit it and I hit it and I hit it for 10 hours. And then I talk to you and you're like, if you hold that for 3 seconds, it'll keep going for maybe 5 minutes.
Yep, it'll repeat itself. It does a repeat, so you don't have to push the button every time. That's the beauty of that ICOM radio, especially with QRP, because I learned that a long time ago when I was sitting here in the office in the evenings and no one would answer my CQ call, but I just hit the button and let it keep recycling and recycling, and it would run for about 10 minutes. And while it's doing,
you can turn your voice off so you don't have to keep listening to yourself.
That's true. That's true.
And the only bad thing about it all is when you get that all comfortable and it's working, you will fall asleep in the chair if you're not careful.
That's right. That's right. And I actually use that to, while it's repeating itself, I'll go out on the SDRs, the web SDRs, and I'll hunt around and find ones that can hear me calling. And at least I know I'm getting out that way. Otherwise, it's
right.
like, and you can hear propagation change. Maybe I'll hear myself in Vermont, and all of a sudden that'll fade away. So I'll go out to the west and go to Utah, and I'll hear myself on that SDR. But it's just repeating and repeating and repeating until somebody, and there are times where I've run an hour and never got a call, but at least I didn't have blisters on my fingers. So, as far as the conditions being tough, I can really vouch for that because, as an example, I work the New Jersey QRP contest in August every year. I've done it 2 years in a row now. And it's a 4-hour sprint, so we only operate 4 hours, and it's on a Sunday afternoon. And 2 times I've operated QRP cold calling, no spots, no nothing. You're just calling CQ. The first year I got 107 QSOs, and last year I got 106 QSOs. So the conditions were horrible for you guys out there, for us this year. And but you guys made it work, and you guys got calls, and it was a lot of fun. I was really actually impressed with the results that we did end up having. But I think that kind of leads to my point. We might hold the next one more late summer into the fall time because maybe the conditions are better then. I don't know, but I'll know more because I'll probably do that New Jersey QRP contest again this year, and if it works out again where I do well, we might move ours to more of a late summer, fall type deal. So, let's see. Any other tips, Steve, that you came across?
No, I just I stayed up here for quite a few hours, and I was really shocked at how the conditions were. 15 meters, 10 meters. I was getting nothing, even
Right.
with the beam.
Right.
I never heard the whole weekend. I never heard but maybe 1 or 2 stations in Europe, and
Right.
probably couldn't have gotten them.
Nope.
Even South America, I got maybe a couple of calls in South America, but Brazil, it was really long or it was nothing at all.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep. All right. So, and then let's see what else we got here. I guess we're about ready to. We did get some feedback from folks on Facebook, and we had some pretty good comments there. Everybody realized that it's hard-working QRP cold calling, and without being able to spot. And the reason we did that, the reason we eliminated the spotting was to level the playing field for everybody. In other words, some folks can't get out to a POTA park and take advantage of the spotting website from a park. So they can only be at home working in their backyard. So we wanted to make sure that everybody had the same level playing field. and so that the guys who could spot couldn't hold the advantage of it, right, Steve?
Right. That's right.
So that's the reason why we went with no spotting. You got four things. You've got your skill, you've got propagation management, you've got your antenna, and you've got your radio. You got four things, and everybody had the same four things across the board, and nobody had any other advantage over anybody else. So that's the reason we did the no spotting, and we'll probably keep it that way as well, just for that fact. Let's see. I think that was it. All we had to talk about on that. Anything else you want to go over, Steve? We can go right into the results and of the contest.
I think we need to go ahead and dive in, unless you've got like some party snacks back there in the green room. Those guys are probably getting hungry and waiting.
Well, let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull up the. We'll look at the total QSO ranking. So this is going to be the ranking. The first place and the top 5 will be shaded of the results. This will be, let's see, I'm going to make sure I got the right one here. All right, here we go. So this is the total QSOs for the whole contest. And in first place was Eaton in New York, Kilo Echo 2, Charlie Victor Bravo with 111, and then myself and Russell came in third place there in North Carolina, and Jim in Illinois did well with 18 on his ICOM 705, and Jeff in New York, KE2ELI, also got 12 there too. So Steve had 10, Greg, Mike, and Tom. Everybody did well. Everybody got some calls. We had 9 participants this year, and which was we had 5 last year, or the one we did it before. So we almost doubled our contest participation, almost by 100%. I was looking for that 10th one so I could say we did it 100%. But folks, we have got a treat for you tonight, because backstage we're going to hang on a second here. We're going to bring up the winner of the there we go. Let's bring up Eaton. There he is. Good evening, Eaton.
Good
First
evening,
place.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
Congratulations on 111 QSOs. How in the heck did you do that under all those conditions?
Man, I wore that recorder button out like like everybody else. I actually, I'm part-time retired, and I got off work Friday at midnight, and you were already on it. So it was, I lost 4 hours. So I came home, I loaded up the truck with gear, I went right to sleep, and I told my missus, I said, listen, you're not going to know I'm gone. And I packed up early in the morning to try to catch the gray line at Floyd Bennett Field, which is where I actually work POTA a lot. And it just took me a little while to get set up, and I missed the gray line. But like you, I already made the recording on the FTX, and I had Friday afternoon set up the JPC 7, so I knew exactly how I was going to set up and where it was going to get anchored and tethered. So it was just a matter of dropping the vertical in the sand and just running the radios, and that was already preset, so it was easier for that. And then I just ran my coax and jumped on it, man, and just started making calls and moving in and out the band. I believe I started on 80 meters because 80 might have still been, that's it. That's the vertical. I started on 80, figuring I could catch the end of the nighttime stuff. And I did catch, I think, 3 or 4 calls that morning on 80. And then when that dropped out, I just started moving around the band to get what I got. Yeah, that's my Mad Dog coil with the Intellitron 25-foot. So I can run 80 through 6 with that, just how you see it, So
now I know
that's how I started.
When I worked you and called you, you had said the tide's coming in. Yeah. And your radios were getting wet, and you had to actually move it, right?
Nah, just the antenna. I pulled the antenna back I for some reason I'm usually pretty good with the tie charts, but I never operated in that park that early, and I didn't look at the chart. And by the time I called, like made the 50th call, I looked up and said, "Yo, are you crazy? Move the antenna." So I jumped
Right.
down on the beach and pulled the antenna back, and I just rearranged very quickly the radios and went back to calling. So at that point, like I switched to the JPC 7, which was behind me, and that was already set for 20 meters. So I just started working that instead.
So is this the JPC 7?
Yep, that's the JPC set up in the upright L position. I think right there it's set to take calls east west, and the vertical is the vertical.
Okay. So you had that radio, that elevated radio pointing towards the west then?
Actually, it's looking north south, so it's
North south.
broadside.
Okay.
So you're
Okay,
talking east west.
broadside.
Yeah,
All
So
right.
that's how I did with that, and I just started banging away. I had an antenna switch on the table. I think you see that in some of the pictures that I run
Yep,
through.
I'm gonna bring up. Let me see here. I've got a picture of your table here. Hang on. How about this one?
There you go. So you see my FTX. You see my sandwich over there in the foil, and you can see my antenna switch right at the top. And from what it's looking like, it looks like that one right there. The switch is on the beach. It's in the beach position.
And that's right out here in the on. I can see it out there on the beach too. Your
Hmm.
antenna.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
How's that Predator work? Pretty well.
That predator saved my life. That's the first time that I actually used that predator with the solar panel, the matching panel.
Oh, okay.
And for the amount of time that I spent out there, if I didn't have that panel, guarantee you I would have ran out of computer real quick because the computer was on for hours. You know, so it
And
worked out.
that's a Yaesu radio, so you had to push the button every time, the call button.
I had to push the button. I wore it out.
Man, I guess so. Wow. Now I want to look at this. Let's see. I also got here. I wanted to look at this too. I'm going to bring this up. So can you guys see where see New York there in the red Floyd Bennett Field?
Yep.
Is that on your screen? So okay, I'm going to zoom in here, and I want to see hopefully this will catch up. Where were you set up then in retrospect to this?
I am.
Are you guys
You
able
see
to
where the purple? You see where the purple dot is?
see it? Is it zooming in for you?
You gotta scroll up a little bit.
There's so there's Sandy Fishing Beach. Let's see. There. Okay, yep, I see the purple dot
Okay. Well,
right here.
I'm right about there.
Okay, you're right in there. So there's a parkway that goes across the water.
Yeah. Actually, no. This is that. That is the we call it the Gil Hodges Memorial Bridge. So if you, no, that's not where I'm at. Keep scrolling. You're going the right direction.
Stop sharing because I think it's am I?
So where I am, if you can find Far Rockaway, I am opposite Far Rockaway. If that makes sense, it'll say Far Rockaway,
I
Fort
don't
Tilden.
see it. Are you on the north side of the airport or the east or
I would be
south?
where I am there would be west of Kennedy Airport, west, southwest actually, southwest of Kennedy Airport.
Okay. Well, I guess I just kind of wanted to get an idea where you were you're out here on the Floyd Bennett Field along
Yep,
the shore
yep.
with some salt water. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm
Oh,
going to go ahead.
he
Let
may
me get
be
back to the
he
live
may be
stream here.
using some stuff from Walt OGO.
You know what? You know what's funny about that? I
Oh,
follow
yeah.
Walt. I follow Walt religiously because I like what he's selling.
Yep.
But I used to be a CB guy many years ago, and at that same field is where we used to have some of the most massive key downs in the Northeast. So I knew for years they used to chuck the whole ground in the salt. That's what they
Yep.
used to do. So I knew about it. It's just that now, because I'm into ham, things are a little more refined. Like there's a purpose of doing that, and not just trying to talk over everybody. If you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So it worked for me, and it works extremely well. You cannot argue with, to coin Walt's term, the saltwater amplifier.
Right.
Exactly
Right.
right.
So you spent the night in your car. You slept out there at the beach, right?
Yes, yes,
Oh my
yes.
gosh. That's just the craziest thing.
It wasn't
Holy.
bad. It wasn't bad. The only issue I had, I'm also a fisherman. Like I said, I wear many hats, and that is they do a lot of fishing in that area. But it started to get pretty cold. So when I was in the SUV, of course I brought a blanket, I brought a pillow. I was set like I got thrown out of the house. So when I was in there,
So you're used to it, right?
nah, I've had some people with experiences that have told me. So long story short, around I don't know, I knocked off Saturday evening by doing POTA because I was still kind of energized because I'm at the POTA Park. And
Right.
when I went before I went to sleep, I took out certain equipment. I took the antenna off the beach because you have people walking on the beach at night. So I
Right.
didn't want them to be impeded by that. But the JPC 7, all I did was lower it. I lowered it, and
Wow.
it has fluorescent paracord, so people would see it because you get people that come out there and drive around at night. So for
Yeah.
safety's sake, I lowered it so nobody'd run into it. But yeah, I passed out and got up maybe around 5:30 that morning. I had already preset the antennas for that day's activity, so it's just a matter of driving the vertical back in the ground and raising the JPC and just calling CQ again. And that's how I ended up with all those contacts.
Yep. That's efficiency right there. You just minimized it to get through the night, and then you relaunched quickly in the morning.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, great jobs, Eaton. I'm impressed with your tenacity and your patience with QRP, sitting out there for that long and making all those contacts. So
Thank you very much. Thank you.
did a great jobs. All right, so we're gonna put Eaton backstage again here, and we're gonna go ahead and look at the so the next. Let's see. Let me get here and. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna get rid of this first. Let's remove this from studio. Okay, so we're ready to bring up the next category, which was, let's see. I gotta go back a page here. 1 second. Uno momento. There we go. All right, so we're gonna look at the party QRP SSB longest distance. So we're going to look at the category for longest distance, longest QSO. And let's pull that up here and get a look at that. And Steve, there we go. So the longest distance went to Russell in North Carolina, Kilo Echo 4 Golf Tango Quebec. He hit Uruguay. With his Moxon antenna, 5,096 miles. Somebody in Uruguay heard him calling CQ, and they answered him. So that's just amazing. Steve picked up Brazil for 4,453 miles. And in comes Eaton in third place. He pulled in a Slovakian QSO, which was awesome. I pulled in Puerto Rico. With out of here in Iowa, and Greg in Alabama. He worked Pennsylvania, and Jeff KE2ELI worked Louisiana for 1,200 miles. Jim's longest distance was 852 in Connecticut, and Mike was in Missouri, and Tom worked South Carolina station there with his ZS6 BKW. And folks, we got a treat for you here as well, because we're going to add to the stage the top longest distance winner, which is Russell. Yay! Good evening, Russell. Good
Howdy.
job.
Howdy.
Let me get Let me get you sent. There we go. Great job, man. How'd you feel when you pulled in that Uruguay station?
Well, it caught me totally off guard. And hello, everybody. I was sitting there with my IC 7300 right here in this same chair I'm sitting in tonight. And I didn't know about the auto calling feature till a long time later in the contest. I'm sitting there and I'm mashing my little button and I'm surfing on the internet because this was 10 meters too, by the way.
Oh, wow. You got him on 10 meters.
10 meters. And I was sitting there and I'd push the button and I'd wait a little bit, push the button, and I was surfing on the computer at the same time. And all of a sudden, a 5-9 signal came in from that gentleman. I had no difficulty hearing him at all, and he didn't have, I got a 5-7 report from him. Now, I got him logged in, and then that was it. No more calls. I mean, I just kept on for hours after that and didn't hear a thing.
So that was your last call you made for the whole contest?
No.
Oh, just
last call for like a couple hours. So
okay for that. Yep. Okay.
I sat there and kept mashing the button. I was thinking the band would come back, but it didn't.
So that was 10 meters, and that was on your Moxon antenna?
The Moxon pointed northeast here from North Carolina.
Pointing northeast. So is that, I'm not familiar with the Moxon. Does that have a beam? Is that kind of a beam effect then, or is it?
10 meter,
It is.
10 meter beam.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Well, you gotta love those calls when you're calling CQ and you're hearing that foreign station come in there. It's always curious. I'm always curious because a lot of times I can't tell from their call sign where they are, and I have to look up till I look it up. And then it's like, oh man, wow, that's amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah. There was no second guessing on his call sign.
No.
It just blew me away.
Yep. Yep. So what'd you think about the contest?
My
did you have
first
fun?
time participating in a contest where you could not spot yourself, and I learned a lot there, and also learning being QRP. You can be sitting there calling CQ, and the next thing you know, QR Mary jumps in right beside of you. When you've been there about 30 minutes, you're thinking somebody's going to come by here at some point in time.
Yep.
Then they come in and you have to move. So no problem at all on that. But
That's the hazards of QRP is a lot of times that they can't hear you and they just move in thinking it's quiet and nobody's there. So
the band conditions were so bad, I stayed on 10 watts the complete contest, and I didn't get to experiment on 5 watts or whatever. Band conditions had been better. I would have tried that. I basically just took all of my available time that weekend, which was pretty here in the Carolinas. We had nice weather. I operated the contest from inside the shack. I should have moved outside in the yard. I should have went to the park. But I just elected to stay in the comforts of the air conditioning at home. And
yeah, why not? When you got to sit there and push the button all the time, you're just supposed to do it while you're comfortable.
There's that blister. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Well, after I talked to Steve and he didn't know about it, I thought, maybe I should do a real quick, short video showing people that are running the ICOMs that they can do that. Because I thought everybody knew, I guess. I really wasn't thinking about it. And when I run my Zygu X6100, I have to sit there and push the button every time I want to call. So I feel your pain. I know exactly what you went through. So
looking forward to the next one we have.
Yeah, we're going to have fun again. So, while you're here, I want to also bring up the next category was miles per watt.
Wow.
And Russell won that as well, the Uruguay. So, yeah, let's give him a round of applause for that as well.
All right.
Good job, Russell. You won the miles per watt with that Uruguay call. 530 miles per watt on that. And I actually came in second to Puerto Rico because I was only operating 5 watts. So that's where you learn on the miles per watt category. If you can score a call with 5 watts, 3 watts, 2 watts, 1 watts, that's where it really, pays off. So I was calling CQ. It was that Friday night with 5 watts, and that Puerto Rico station came in. That's the only DX I got for the whole contest, though. So, but congratulations, Russell, on the big score there for your Uruguay call. That yielded you two good categories there, 2 wins.
Yeah. Thank you. The call on the Uruguay call, it wasn't an hour or two after I logged him. I logged on QRZ that he acknowledged he confirmed the QSO, and that just put the icing on the cake, right?
Even better. Yeah, that's kind of rare that they actually confirm it too for you.
Yep, that was good.
So great job. Congratulations, Russell. Any other tips or pointers for everybody out there that for next time?
Just stay persistent. I when I do any contest, I look at it as I'm a participant. Yes, you do want to come in first place, but you also want to enjoy it. Whenever you're sitting behind the microphone and you're in the shack or whatever, and it becomes a burden, then it's time to get up and move around and say, "Hey, I'm in it, and I'm in it to win it, but I'm still want to enjoy the winning." If
Right.
you understand that, and I've a lot of our club members, I've gotten them involved in contesting to be a participant, and instead of the real contesters that I've met, they actually are fed at the table and everything. They don't give up 1 minute, and and they have those high scores. But to me, this was fun. I enjoyed it, and any contest that I get into, that's my approach. That's the way I go into it.
Yep. Yeah. Good points. You got to just be persistent. Just hang in there, and something will happen.
But you know, Russell, if you put the banana pudding over on the other table, they'll get up.
That's right. And we had a good party today. A good fellowship and get together in the park. We all got the Support Your Parks Weekend Award. All of us hams, and we did that, and it was really good, real good time. Had good old Southern barbecue and fried chicken and potato salad. What else, Steve? We had a bunch of stuff.
Red slaw. Don't forget the red slaw.
Yeah.
Good job.
It was good. Had a blast. Good weather.
But I will have to say this. I think it was last year or the year before. I've been to Russell's thing several times, and Russell gets a kick out of this. There was one of the ladies was there, and she was standing on the other side of the serving table, and I might have been my first time there, but anyway, she was watching what I was putting on my plate. I got some barbecue. I got the red slaw. I got a little. I think there was mac and cheese, but anyway, I noticed there was this pot there, and it looked like grits. And I'm like, I've had shrimp and grits, but I've never had grits with barbecue. And I said, but I don't want to hurt her feelings by not getting a spoonful. So I got a spoonful and put it on my plate, went over there and sat down. And I got to looking at everybody else's plate, and I'm like, well, evidently they don't like grits. And so I got a big spoonful out of there and put it in my mouth, and it was terrible. I mean, that's the worst taste I've ever had in my mouth. And I looked at Russell. I had to spit it out in a napkin. And I looked at Russell and I said, who made these grits? She said, that wasn't grits. That was hush puppies that haven't been cooked.
Oh my gosh!
We cooked the hush puppies on site that year, and that was what that was, hush puppy mix.
Oh man!
We went from hush puppies to potato chips in the last year.
Right.
It's safer that way.
Safer, yeah.
Well, we brought Eaton back on stage here, so congratulations to you both. I'm going to let me show here. So, all right. So here's what you guys will get. Eaton, this will be coming in the mail to you. A little plaque for your first place win.
Thank you.
For the most contacts made, 111 QSOs with 10 watts of power.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Awesome job. And then Russell, you'll get one plaque, but it'll be two wins on the one plaque.
All right.
Be combined together for longest distance and watt miles. So congratulations to you both. Great job. And appreciate everybody's participation. That's just the support for the QRP net and the participation there and the participation in the contest was just amazing. Steve and I, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. It'd be pretty boring if it was just Steve and I playing QRP back and forth. So we rely on everybody out there to have fun and be our entertainment. You guys are our entertainment, to be honest with you. You keep us entertained and having all the fun out there. So, but congratulations, guys. Do you have any other parting words of wisdom for us before we close things out?
Just keep
Russell?
up the good work on Sunday nights. Enjoy the QR. I do try to get in early because the longer you go by being in North Carolina, you're the only station I can work. Steve's so close to me, I can't work him. But as it goes into the 8 o'clock hour, you sort of fade away. And if I don't get in early, I pretty much can't get in. But I look forward to that. And if you saw, I described my antenna to Steve today, and I put it up in a hurry, and I've worked it so well. I just haven't touched it in over 5 years, and it's not a zigzag, but it starts from 3 foot and goes straight up to 20 foot, and then it goes straight out like an inverted L. But the L part's only 10 foot long, and the rest of it doesn't even look like it'd work, but it's working.
It does well. I mean, when you're there, you're there. It's just, I mean, really, like you said, it's propagation.
Yep.
If we got good propagation, you can dial her down to 1/2 watt, and I can copy you easy. So, yep.
Right. Yep.
Great. Well, we appreciate you participating there too on Sunday nights.
Thanks for doing it. Thanks, and just thank you. Thanks. I had no clue I'd even place.
Right. Well, it was tough. Eaton,
I'm proud of you, man. 111, man. I'm gonna buy me one of them little kiddie swimming pools and fill it up with salt water. Throw my radios in there.
Yeah, man. Throw a bag of snow melt in there and do your thing. Mix it up.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, Eaton's a machine. Man, I couldn't believe he was out there working like he was. That was just amazing.
Yeah.
Eaton, you got any parting words for everybody?
Yeah, absolutely. On a bigger thing, I will always say that the QRP operators probably are the hardest working radio people out there. We don't have all the big amps. Sometimes we don't have the big antennas. And at the end of the day, if this place ever goes left, when these other operators can't run that gear, we are quite familiar with operating low power because that's what you're going to have. You're only going to have a battery to, even if you have a 100-watt radio, how long are you planning on running that 100-watt radio if you're trying to conserve a battery? So when we're doing it at 500 milliwatts, 100 milliwatts, we're going to be the ones that at the end of the day, those people are going to come knocking on our doors. So I think that we do great for ourselves, and we deserve a round of applause for ourselves because those were the absolute worst conditions that I operated on Friday, on Saturday and Sunday for QRP, and just persistence. And I had a few QRP stations come back to me, and I was happy because when I asked them, what are you running? 5 watts. I said, I could barely hear you. Let me listen louder. But the fact of the matter is I did hear them, and they were logged, and I think they were quite proud of themselves as well. And some of them didn't even know. They had a few of them said they didn't even know we were running a QRP soiree is what I call it. And they already made plans to participate if there will be, and there will be, another one. So everybody just keep up the good work. You know, we are the radio guys, man. That's what we do.
Yep. Like you said, it's QRP is a skill. I mean, it's you can't just put up an antenna and throw power at it. You've got to work at it, and
Yes, absolutely.
And you learn a lot too. Just by working low power, you learn a lot. So.
Oh yeah, and as Russell mentioned, I think before, or all of us pretty much, they don't even know you're there because I heard European stations just beating the bejesus out of me. I had to move. I moved, I set up, I got 2 calls. Somebody moved in like, one guy was like 100 hertz below me,
Yeah.
so he just blasted me. I'm like, I gotta keep moving, but
Yep.
that's part of the fun. I kind
That's
of dig not spotting. Not spotting is the rawest form of this
Yeah.
whole thing,
Yep.
and
It
you're
is.
gonna get it done. I liked it. I really had a good time.
Yeah. Yep. Great. Well, thanks, Eaton, and congratulations to you guys both.
Thank
And that was a great showing for sure. Steve, you got anything parting words tonight?
I was just gonna say, talking what Eaton was saying. You know, ham radio to me in an emergency situation, just like we had over here in the mountains when
Mhm.
Hurricane Helene come in. If you had no power and all you had was a battery, even if you had a solar panel and a battery, you're not going to call for a long time on 100 watts. You can 10 watts, 15 watts, man. I can, and a solar panel, I can run for long as it's daylight. I can run all week long on a
Right.
radio, and it's amazing the people that can hear you. You know, distance wise, even with the Mount Mitchell repeater, you know, getting on 2 meters, I can hit that repeater at Mount Mitchell with 1 watt, and
Mm.
and that repeater covers 5 states.
Wow.
So, you know, it's at 6,600 feet in the air.
Okay. Okay.
It's the tallest repeater east of the Mississippi.
Mm.
And that's a lot of those calls. And Russell, he can uh, talk about it too. I mean, there was a lot of calls that came over that repeater. People
Oh
that
man.
needed help, people that were trying to find out if their family was alive, if they were affected by the flood, if they had power, where they were, that kind of stuff. That's when ham radio counts.
It sure did.
Yep.
It really. I was really proud to be a ham radio operator during that time because we heard some sad stories, and Steve and I both had went up to the mountains and volunteered to help those folks, and you see a grown man cry. I mean, they lost family, they lost every possession they've had, and the only ones that were there to help were basically volunteers. There was no commercial establishments helping those folks at all, and Steve can back me up on that. And they put up a command center at an airport, and people were flying in supplies in helicopters, airplanes, and jets and all. And I hope I never have to live through that again. And I volunteered up there for a week, and I'd see families come through, and it just
And
makes
you
you
know, some of those people up there, there's different people in the mountains up there because they won't ask for help.
no.
You
Yeah.
you can offer help, and they won't ask for help. But it was amazing because some of the guys, and you probably worked with them too. There was 5 or 6 guys that I worked with up there 2 different weekends that drove all the way from Utah,
Oh yeah.
Mm.
and
Yep.
trucks with enclosed trailers coming in with log splitters. And I ain't talking about cheap stuff. I'm talking about steel chainsaws and, you know, high dollar equipment that people just donated. Food, you name it, all the way from kids coloring books to toothpaste, deodorant, blankets,
Hmm.
sleeping bags, buddy heaters. It was coming from all. There's a lot of generous people in this country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What fascinated me going through the line, we just asked how big the family was, and we didn't ask them what they actually needed. We loaded their car up. We gave away, like Steve said, heaters, buddy heaters, propane. They had a gasoline. You could bring a 5 gallon can or a bucket, or you get free gasoline, free exchange on propane
Mhm.
tanks. This went on for months and months and months, and there are people actually still living in tents in that area
Mm.
today, and
Wow.
that's
Mm.
been over a year.
And don't forget our friend Vicky
Right,
AD3I.
the
As
D3.
she was on that radio for more than a month
Yep.
passing
Hmm.
traffic.
Yep.
And now she's going up there and getting these communities uh, interested in ham radio. So they're
Yep.
going to be
Oh yeah.
well prepared next.
Yep.
If that ever happens again, going to be a lot of folks. It's ham radio is really picking up. You know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because people are realizing when there's no power, there's no internet, there's no cell phones, and you're up there, that's the only way you're going to be able to
Yeah.
communicate is ham radio.
Yep.
And you know
Yep.
something, Steve, too. What's just a thought. Even if your top side goes down, and you have a balun or onion or whatever, you can start grabbing extension cords from your house and cutting antennas. You can
Yeah.
use what's available to you
Oh,
to
yeah.
get it done. You know, so there's that. There's that. You know, I'll strip every extension cord I have in this house to make it.
Right.
Or you can do like Kevin does, take a snow shovel and put it on the fence and transmit with a snow shovel.
Whatever works, man. I take my G90 and bolt it to the gate in front of the house, man. I'm gonna get
Yep.
it done.
Yep. That's right. And that G90 will tune it.
Yes.
It'll tune anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's one thing I found out on a lot of my experiments. Like a grain auger is a great antenna. You know, it's a sloper and it works great, and it's just amazing. So
There you go.
well, thank you guys. Appreciate everybody and everybody in the chat. Thanks for stopping by for the stream tonight. And that just means tomorrow night we'll be back, won't we, Steve?
Oh yeah, we'll be here.
We got the QRP SSB net tomorrow night, so we'll be back on there. And I got to get that scheduled, so we'll be back. We start that at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern, and on this YouTube channel. So be sure to stop back tomorrow night. So, all right, that's all we got, everybody. And congratulations to our winners, and congratulations to all the participants, everybody that was out there and calling CQ. Congratulations to everybody, actually, because it was just great participation, and I hope you all had fun. I had fun, and
Oh, yeah.
and it was a good time. So, all right, well, we'll do it again next year. Then it sounds like, so we'll do that. All right, well, I'll say good night, everybody, and
Good night.
I don't have an outro, so we're just going to end the stream, and we'll see y'all tomorrow night. 7-3, everybody.
7-3, guys.
7-3. Good night.
Good night.